They trade away Kevin Zeidler, they get Olivier Vernon, and then they trade away, the pick, and they get Odell Beckham Jr. And so that has changed. It's a now attitude for the Browns.
Right.
And I think that's the difference right now.
Yeah, it's weird. We're not talking about we're worried about a 5-year plan anymore, or even a 3-year plan. It really is win now, and the guys and we'll get to all the needs, and we'll get to your questions. We apologize. Our guy Vince did a great job getting us sound-wise back on the air here, and we appreciate it. This idea now that when the Browns take players, there might, if you take a second-round guy, he's expected to maybe come in and be a starter or a fringe player. But guys the Browns take over these next couple of days are going to be guys to fill out the roster and be backups and play special teams and fill certain roles, not necessarily be counted on day one to be impact players. That's something that we're not used to.
Yeah, last year's draft was going to be very, very important to not only hit on the picks, but to hit so much on the picks that they were going to be out there on the opening day of the season. Now, with the understanding that when they took Baker Mayfield, there was a plan in place that they were going to wait, presumably the whole year, and play Tyrod Taylor. And, of course, that didn't play out, but that has changed the whole dynamics of the Cleveland Browns' fortunes and their future, because Baker Mayfield did play and played so well and at such a high level. They are much farther down the road than we would have expected them to be, and when we were at this point last year. But, I mean, when you had Mayfield, it was going to be very important that Denzel Ward, who was the number 4 overall pick, played right away, and he did, and he played at an incredible high rate of play at the start of the season. It was going to be very important that they get a position for Austin Corbett, and they didn't. Yep. But they do now. I mean, he's going to be their right guard, and then Nick Chubb, became even bigger than what they thought he was going to be. So those 4 guys that they had, who are now big players in their starting lineups, both offensively and defensively. Well, actually, only one of them on defense. It's very important. But remember now, they got a guy, Jannard Avery, in the 5th round last year, and Avery's a big player. They have 3 picks in the 5th round this year. That's a round where John Dorsey will play, I think, an awful lot, or use the 3 picks to maybe go up a little bit. More so on Friday night than I think on Thursday night.
Yeah, so let's start with tomorrow as we watch. Probably another Oklahoma quarterback get selected number 1, and we sit and see how everything plays itself out tomorrow. The likelihood, Jimmy, that the Browns will move into the first round, knowing that their first pick is number 49, and you'd have to move up at least 17 spots to get yourself into the first round, and what that would cost. Probably, if you're expecting the Browns to have a first-round pick tomorrow, you're probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that there's some resignation or acceptance of the draft board out in Berea right now that it would be a real long shot, I think, if the Browns moved up, even to the late stages of the first round, but certainly not into the middle of the first round or even going higher. I don't know if that's a possibility for them even. But that would be that they would have targeted a player. Now, there's a player that, a lot of people think that they really like, but it would be a future player because he wouldn't be able to play next year. That would be the defensive lineman from Mississippi State, Jeffrey Simmons, who tore his ACL in preparation for the the offseason and the combine and the pro day and the workouts with various teams in the NFL. I mean, he's a big-time star, but you would be, in essence, redshirting him this year because he's not going to be able to play this season. So a lot of people, are saying, do you go get him in the first round? Is he going to last to 49? I think the Browns like him, and he's a dynamic player. He had an off-the-field issue, though, too. I mean, to be, all wide open about this. I mean, he has a red flag on that. But remember, the Browns, Antonio Callaway had a red flag, and they went with him. Having said that, I mean, that's the one guy that I think people say, if the Browns were going to move, maybe they would move to get him. But keep in mind now, he would almost be like, he would end up as a first-round pick for you next year because he's not going to be able to play this year.
Which, now.
Are the Browns, I know they're good, but are they at that point where, you can have players sitting in the wings?
And that might be the argument they make. Let's say if they go from, they trade this year's second and next year's number 1 to move up to get to get Simmons, as you say, to get him maybe in the late first round to ensure that they could get him, that would probably be the argument they would use. Well, we feel like he's the equivalent of next year's number one. So you're basically, you're wiping out this year's second round and next year's first round.
Right.
But you also look at it and you say, well, we got Odell Beckham this year, and then we would have Simmons then next year as a guy we think has a first round talent. I guess, Jimmy, when you're a team that has playoff aspirations, it's a different, you reason differently with how you go about selecting players.
Well, the other thing is, when you're not selecting a quarterback, okay, when you're not looking for a franchise quarterback, and the Browns aren't because they have one now. When you are looking for that, though, and you're looking for it and you have to move, look at last year. Buffalo had to move twice to get up and be able to take the guy that they ended up selecting. The Giants may have to move tomorrow, to get up and get a quarterback to be the next guy behind Eli Manning, their future franchise quarterback. That's really expensive.
Yes.
That's very, very expensive to do that. So, it was expensive for the Browns back in 2007, okay, when they drafted Joe Thomas third, and then remember, they were in the 21-22 region. Dallas was getting ready to make their pick, and the Browns traded with the Cowboys to get back into the first round to take Brady Quinn.
Yep.
And then lost the first round pick. That was part of the asking price, along with some other stipulations, but they didn't have the pick then the following year. That's the Bo Bell year.
That's the Bo Bell, as I joke, because the Browns in 2008, they didn't have a first round pick because of Brady Quinn. They traded a second rounder for Sean Rodgers, and I think a third rounder was Corey Williams
from Green Bay.
Bay. So they were building up their defensive line, and they got a guy that they thought was going to be their franchise quarterback. Next thing you know, it's the NFL draft, and this was at the point. I think the draft was the draft still all one day in 2008?
I believe it was. Yeah, I believe it was. I do know this. They did get Ataba Rubin.
They did get Ataba Rubin.
Bo Bell was a bust, but Ataba Rubin was a pretty good player for them. But that's all they got in that draft, and of course, it really hurt them. There was a sense, and you may feel this tomorrow night. Even though Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be here and play for the Browns. But there might be a little buyer's remorse tomorrow night where you're sitting saying, gosh, I wish we had a first-round pick. And that's only natural. You just have to get by that. My way of getting by it is saying, is there anybody in the first round tomorrow that is better than Odell Beckham Jr.? And my answer to that is no.
No.
Especially with what he does.
Yeah. Right now, 10 years from now.
Or if he was 7 years into his NFL career, and, you would be saying, well, he's a little bit long in the tooth now to be a great wide receiver in the NFL. Do you really want to give up a first-round pick? But he is right in the prime of his career. I don't even know if he's hit his prime.
I don't think he has, honestly. Great question. Again, you get your questions in. Somebody says, dear Lord, this is making me sad. Yeah, I know. It's a weird day for the draft. We had a question. Should the Browns, as they approach, especially day 2, be thinking more about choosing players who can be starters or getting guys to fill out the depth?
Well, here are two areas, and that's a very good question. Here are two areas that I think they definitely need to address, and probably early. And let me say this. I don't think they're going to be able to move tomorrow night, but they may move Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, and it might be in the second round. They may try and go up a little bit in the second round, and they may use the third-round pick or certainly one of those 3 fifth-rounders that they have, which would be selected on Saturday. But anyway, they could move a little bit tomorrow on Friday night, not tomorrow night. Now, here's where I think they are, okay? I think even if they stay at 49, I think there are 2 spots that they probably need to go and address that haven't really been addressed yet. If you remember, very early in free agency, even before it officially kicked off, the Browns were taking a lot of visits with cornerbacks, and they didn't sign any of them. That tells me 2 things. Number 1, they think they need a cornerback, and I agree with them. Number 2, they're going to draft a cornerback because they think they can do better. So I think you look at this situation. Denzel Ward, great player, but got hurt 2 or 3 times last year. There was also a period where Terrence Mitchell broke his wrist.
Correct.
TJ Carey was hurt.
Yep.
EJ Gaines was hurt. You have to have corners.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a bad idea to get a young corner, and they would get a good one, I think, in the second round. There will still be a lot of talent on the board in the cornerback position. Here's why. Those quarterbacks are going to go in the first round, and there are a ton of defensive linemen that are going to go in the first round. And some wide receivers are going to go too. And the cornerbacks might drop a little bit. Having said that, I think the Browns need a cornerback. They need more depth at cornerback. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a nice young 1-2 punch with Denzel Ward. Minifield and Dixon.
I was going to say, Minifield and Dixon all the way. Yep.
The second spot would be, and I go back to the last regular season game against Baltimore, it exposed a problem right up the middle. They ran up the middle on them. I love Joe Schobert. He had a bad day the last game of the season. He missed a lot of tackles. And I think that he is an all-out effort guy. I'm not saying he needs to be replaced, but they need another answer in the middle of that linebacker core. Again, now, they really didn't get linebackers in free agency. They got pass rush, they got a wide receiver, they got depth on the offensive line, they got safeties. Yeah. But they didn't get linebacker and they didn't get cornerback, and I think that's where they're going.
Jay says, I wonder if the Browns, if they move back into the first round, would look at maybe the Oakland Raiders late in that first round, 27th pick, and Jay wanting to negotiate with John Gruden and Mike Mayock says, give them the 2020 first round pick and two players who are rumored to be on the trading block. One is the aforementioned Joe Schobert, and the other is Duke Johnson. One thing with John Dorsey is he's not afraid to trade players. I mean, we've seen that. More so than I can remember a Browns GM doing in a long time, where Dorsey, doesn't just trade for draft picks. He trades players back and forth.
Yeah. Duke Johnson, that's an excellent point. Duke Johnson, I think, is definitely on the trading block. And I think they thought they might have a deal a few weeks ago with Philadelphia for Duke Johnson, but the offer wasn't what they wanted, and so they pulled back and kept him on the market. I also think that's why John Dorsey spoke glowingly of Duke Johnson last week at his pre-draft press conference, saying, oh, no, I mean, he's a football player that we like. We have a plan for him. He has a role in the offense, and he does, but he doesn't like his role in the offense and never has, even pre-John Dorsey. I think he is on the market. I don't know if he's now Marshawn Lynch's going to retire.
Yes.
Okay, he's not going to play again. But I don't know if Duke Johnson, again, is that that 25, 30 carry guy that the Raiders probably are looking for. Duke Johnson he's got a talent.
Yes.
But it's on the edge more than it's up through the tackles.
To me,
in
it's
between the guards.
To me, I've always thought with Duke, if you could get him the ball 10, 15 times between carries and catches, that should be your goal.
Yeah.
Not handing him off, 25 times a game.
Yeah. Now, if they trade Duke Johnson, they're going to need a running back.
Yes.
At some point too, and I think that they would be able to accomplish that at some point. They have 8 picks. I don't know that they're going to use all 8, but they have 8 picks. Remember now, they've already brought in 14, 15 players before they draft anybody, and they'll get Kareem Hunt. They need to get somebody to get them to Kareem Hunt.
Yes.
Now, whether or not that's Duke Johnson or somebody else, okay? But I do believe he is on the block, and I think they are willing to make a trade for him.
John says, what about, in addition to moving Duke, what about looking over at Arizona at Adrian Peterson? The idea is to get a veteran to help spell Chubb when you need to and get you to that point.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That would be along the lines of, they got Carlos Hyde last year, and Carlos Hyde, took the bulk of the carries, probably too many of them early in the season, and here was Chubb, ripping off big runs but only getting 3 carries a game. That gets you fired, and it did. 2 guys got fired after that. I don't know about Adrian Peterson. I think that I do believe that there's a running back situation, though, whether it's going to be a rookie that they get and they just feed him the ball and let him have the Duke Johnson role. I think there are plenty of those in the draft. Or they go and get an established NFL running back that can kind of do the workload that they need, help out Chubb, and then get them to Kareem Hunt. Because once they get there, I mean, this offense is going to go into a different speed.
Yeah. What about a kicker? Will they use a pick maybe on day 3 for a kicker?
I don't know the kid's name. There's a great kicker in Utah, from Utah. There is a kicker that could be drafted. Not like the kid from Florida State, that, Aguayo.
Second round disaster.
Oh my gosh. Isn't his brother a kicker too?
Oh.
At Florida State, I believe, Anyway, they like Greg Joseph. I mean, there are two things they like about Greg Joseph. He's gotten through his rookie year, and you can argue he didn't get through it well, or he did get through it well. Mike Prefer, the new special teams coordinator, really likes him.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing, Dino, is I think they like the price. Now, take a look at the news yesterday. Robbie Gould, San Francisco 49ers, franchised by the 49ers. Since he's been in San Francisco, he's 72 out of 75, 96%.
That's efficient.
A little trivia, folks. I think he kicked his first NFL field goal here against the Browns as a Bear.
I think he did.
Yeah. Anyway, he's upset that he's franchised. He does not like the long-term offer that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have put in front of him, and he's asked them to trade him. That's going to be expensive.
Yes.
That's very, very expensive. Again, I think at the very least there will be kicking competition that will come into camp. I don't know if they're going to take one in the draft, though.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll take one in the draft. If there is a kicker from Utah, though, that is supposed to be draftable.
But yeah, there will be a competition. I mean, they want it. Yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be. Right?
Yeah. Just to clarify from John, not Adrian Peterson. He was talking about Patrick Peterson,
who's unhappy.
He's unhappy.
In Arizona.
I would love Patrick Peterson.
Maybe because they have gone into that dark hole that we have gone in, through so many years, where they got really bad, really fast. They're playing really at a high level. Bruce Arians had them in the NFC Championship game, and now they're picking first in the draft. Okay, so I've kind of lost touch with him, Patrick Peterson. I mean, he's a great player, great punt returner, big time player. But something happened out there, and it seems to be a very bad situation. And when you have a new regime in there, and Cliff Kingsbury coming in, and the possibility that you could make a bold move tomorrow night and take Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma, who will definitely be a system-type quarterback, okay? You wonder if a guy like Patrick Peterson is saying, I don't want to go through this. I really don't want to go through this.
He's only 28 years old, so, I mean, he still has some I think he still has some gas in the tank.
I will say this. I think the Browns really love Terrence Mitchell, and I think they like the other guys that they have around them. But I think they would like to get a young corner, and they really need to do that. And I think they will, probably Friday, definitely Saturday if it's not done Friday, though.
We've had a couple of questions on, and I'm going to just have fun because he's our guy, Tony Grossi. But people have been wanting to know thoughts on
when he's leaving town.
No. Anthony is not going anywhere. But should fans be antsy at all because Odell Beckham, aside from that first day that he was here and had that press conference, he hasn't been here for the voluntary off-season workouts. I mean, he tweeted today when it came up that he's working out. I have no doubt that he's keeping himself in shape.
Yeah, he looked like he was in shape.
I mean, I don't think it's a big deal, but that's just me.
We would all love it to be Camp Granada, okay? That it's just a great time and hello mother, hello father. We would love that, okay? And the good ship lollipop and all of that. It's not in a lot of places, okay? It's just that, and again, this is the Manziel stigma, I think, okay?
Yeah.
Now remember, we are not getting pictures every Monday from what happened over the past weekend, where there are, blown up inflatable flamingos with Odell Beckham Jr. in the middle of them with big, huge bottles of champagne, being cracked open. We're not getting any of that. Would they like to have him there? Sure. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have him there. I think they would like to have him there. People are using the argument, and I think Tony is, that, hey, listen, you have a new offense that they are installing. They are putting a new offense in. Why not be there? I think I'm going to go along the lines, Dino, that they knew this when they made the deal.
Yeah.
This is a different kind of player than they have had. I mean, this is a lot different than Rashard Higgins, and Damian Ratley
Ricardo
and
Lewis.
Derek Willies
Right.
and all of these guys.
Right.
This is a very different kind of guy. You're in a different altitude with this guy. I think that when you get that kind of player, you get this kind of aura around them, and I think that I'm shocked that if the Browns would say, we're shocked that he's not here. Okay. Right. I think I'm going to go along the trust factor that he will be here when he's supposed to be here.
Yeah.
When the word voluntary is off of it, or maybe he may surprise you because they're going to get into a realm now of where they're going to be able to be out on the field and in units and being coached. Then I would assume at that point they would like to see him here.
His relationship, here's why I'm not worried. His relationship with Jarvis Landry, his relationship with Adam Henry, his relationship with Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Not worried. I mean, I think, everybody would like there to be, again, rainbows and unicorns and life is good. Hey, listen, I mean, he's done this in the past. He works out. He has his own regiment. I mean, that's fine. As long as he's here when he's supposed to be here, who cares?
Yeah, I think right now we're going to go on the trust factor here that he knows what it takes to get himself ready to play football, and we'll watch and see. It's a watch and see right now. I think that when they made this kind of trade, and this just didn't happen in 5 minutes when they did it, they had to know all that comes with Odell Beckham Jr. when you bring him here. I mean, that's been the main source that's what got this whole Twitter battle going before Tony wrote his article between Dave Gettleman and Odell Beckham Jr. about, we don't have a distraction or a cancer anymore in our locker room, and then he, went back. I mean, that's how that all got going.
And
it's more New York ignited
it really
than
is.
a problem in Cleveland.
Exactly. So, but I agree with you. I think on Tony's point, we've been here before and we've been burned before because of the Manziel past. It's just this idea that, when the cat's away and he's, can you trust him? Beckham's a much different person than Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. Now Duke Johnson's not there,
right?
I mean, but there is more of that is a strategy by Duke Johnson, which will either be addressed this weekend or in the weeks ahead.
So tomorrow, while we're all kind of sitting around and kicking back in Berea and watching everybody else do their thing, when you look at teams that need to make something big happen, generate a huge buzz, who are you going to be watching tomorrow in terms of other teams?
Well, the Arizona thing is fascinating because, I mean, here they were in the first round last year and they drafted Josh Rosen, and apparently they are ready to give up on him already and bring in Kyler Murray, which is now, I mean, you talk about a different style of play that the Ravens had to go to with Lamar Jackson. This is even going to be more. And it goes right to the head coach and where he cuts his teeth. Cliff Kingsbury at Texas Tech getting, fired at Texas Tech and ending up as the head coach of the Cardinals. So that's going to be fascinating. Some of the other teams, I think what the Giants do, because of the New York market and the Eli Manning situation, and are they going to address the quarterback finally and move beyond Eli Manning, whether it's this year or certainly next year, and get a young quarterback in there to take over the baton and run that franchise and to go along with Saquon Barkley. Some other teams, I think in our division, I think we have to watch out. What are the Steelers going to do? You always have to watch out what they're going to do. They've taken some losses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no more Antonio Brown. There's no more Le'Veon Bell. And, they just re-upped with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting. Cincinnati is very, very quiet.
Yes.
I mean, really quiet. Is it a major rebuild? I don't know. I don't know where they are. I don't know, I don't know much about the head coach. I don't know what the direction is that they're going to go. They still have the remnants of some productive players. They have A.J. Green. They have Andy Dalton. They have Joe Mixon. I mean, they have players there, but what is the direction they're going to take? The Ravens, too. The Ravens took a lot of hits in free agency. Mosley's gone. Now they've brought in Mark Ingram to be their running back. And they've lost some other things in what they were doing. That's all going to be very interesting. So in our division, I'm kind of interested in what they're going to do.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye. Now, we are going to have full coverage of the NFL draft tomorrow and Friday right here on Facebook Live, on YouTube, on WKYC.com. Coverage tomorrow will start at 7:30. We'll be live from Berea. We'll have this guy on with us, Ben Axelrod Budshaw, going to be kind of running the train for you tomorrow. I'll be with you on Friday. I'll be around tomorrow to keep everybody on their toes, but Friday will be my day to help anchor the show. But this is such a weird thing for Browns fans, and I'm with you. I think that, at some point tomorrow, fans might be missing out, feel like they're missing out on it. Just remember how you felt the night of the Beckham trade. It'll be fine.
I think so, yeah. I really do. I think that, you think about it every year. Think about New England. Every year they're down at 31 or 32, and somehow they're always able to make a very, very interesting couple of moves. I mean, people are always, they'll be an interesting team to watch. I mean, are they going to go get God love Brian Hoyer, okay, but at some point the Patriots are going to have to think about our 40-plus-year-old quarterback, starting to think about putting his feet up and calling it a career, and that being Tom Brady, and we're going to have to get somebody else in here to become the next quarterback.
Jimmy Garoppolo's not walking through that door.
Right.
He's out in the Bay Area.
Yeah. So, they're always, but, think about where they are. The really good teams, often aren't the big players on draft night, but it's their ability to come up with solid players to conform to what they're doing offensively and defensively in the late first round or the middle rounds. That's what keeps them at the top of the NFL when it really counts. Because remember, you can be a big story on draft night, and, we know that for 20 years.
Right.
And you can be right back and be a big story on draft night, and the reason is because you had a bad year.
Right, right. And you become you go from being the story of draft night to having a 30 for 30 made out you. Imagine what happened when. Gonna watch. We'll see where Dwayne Haskins ends up. See.
And there's a lot of local kids here that. Paris Campbell from St. V and Ohio State, a very highly thought of wide receiver. We had a kid in the other night, Justin Lane from Benedictine High School, played at Michigan State. Now he is a very, very, very well-respected corner. He's the new breed of corner in the NFL. He's a tall, big corner, okay? And there are all these big wide receivers, okay? And you want a bigger corner now. Denzel Ward is a little bit slight.
Yeah.
Justin Lane said that he's had good talks with the Browns. He expects to go either tomorrow, but certainly early on Friday. And that might be, usually you might see a run. Once a cornerback goes,
they all
start to go.
It's like that with wide receivers.
We had a kid on tonight, Andy Isabella from
Mayfield and UMass. He looked to me like the next Edelman.
His stats and his number in the 40 would tell you that he is like that.
Yeah, I looked at him. I'm like, God, he played at UMass, so I'm sure Bill Belichick and his people already know everything they need to know about him. He looks like a Patriot.
Yeah, the other thing there with his story is he played for a guy that coached here and in the NFL, Mark Whipple.
Yeah.
Remember him?
That's right.
He was with the Steelers. He was quarterback coach. He was a quarterback coach here for a little bit, but he left the NFL ranks after going through a lot of doors in the NFL and being on a lot of head coaching staffs, and went to UMass. But so he played in a pro offense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And but he's got big numbers.
Yeah.
And he's very, very fast. I think he tied for the best time in the 40. Yeah.
So and then C.J. Conrad, the tight end.
From Kentucky, a great kid from LaGrange, Keystone High School. Went to the SEC, went to Kentucky, was part of a rebirth of Kentucky football, played in the bowl game this year, had a heart problem, or at least they detected something, or an irregularity with his heart at the combine. They red flagged him, sent him home, but the NFL says if you can get cleared by an NFL-sanctioned cardiologist, he went to Boston, to Mass General, he got cleared, went to his pro day, he's done very well. He's a willing blocker.
Yes.
Okay, at tight end, and he can catch the ball too. But he's going to go. And Draymond Jones from St. Ignatius, who could go.
I think he could go tomorrow.
Yeah. Certainly Saturday.
Yeah.
I think, certainly Friday, I think. He could go. I think that the Browns loved him when he was here and visited with them.
So we'll keep an eye on those names. While the draft is going on tomorrow, if the Browns are inactive, there are going to be a lot to follow in terms of local players, division teams, and a lot of interesting stories that we'll keep an eye on. And then certainly when the Browns are on the clock, we will have full coverage for you here all weekend long. Jimmy, I'll see you out in Berea tomorrow night. We'll see all of you out in Berea as well. Again, our coverage will start right after Donovan Live at 7:30 right here on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on WKYC.com. So we'll see you then tomorrow night. For Jimmy, I'm Dino. Thanks for watching the Donovan Live postgame show right here on WKYC's Facebook Live.